Morning, guys. It's Sunday, and I'm furious. I posted a video last night as soon as I heard the news that ABC had paid off Donald Trump $15 million to settle a bogus defamation lawsuit. You probably know about this by now, so I'm not going to spend my time getting into it. I will link last night's video at the end of this one. But Donald Trump had no legal basis for winning that lawsuit. It wasn't even going to get to trial. Donald Trump hadn't even been deposed in this lawsuit yet. That's how early on in the process it was when ABC decided to settle. What they really decided to do was to pay off Donald Trump. This was extortion money that they decided to pay. Let's pay him $15 million and maybe he won't come after us when he takes office next month. That's what this was. This case, Donald Trump would have lost on summary judgment. It never even would have gotten to a trial. That's how weak this case was. He had no legal basis. And what's so infuriating about this is that this is how we lose our republic. Right here. You know, there are people who have been warning about this, experts in the field of, who study authoritarianism through history, people like Ruth Ben-Ghiat, Timothy Snyder of Yale. They've been talking about this literally for years. And they describe it as obeying in advance. They don't even put up a fight. In these places where dictators have come to power, in democratic societies, it happens because people don't even resist the dictator's power grabs. They just obey in advance. And this is exactly what's going on in this country. Not just ABC, but you see it in other media outlets. You see it with Joe and Mika going down to Mar-a-Lago. You see it in the business community with Zuckerberg and Bezos and all these people, Tim Cook, falling all over themselves, going down to Mar-a-Lago, kissing Donald Trump's ass, obeying in advance. Now, those business leaders do it for a couple of reasons. One, they do it to try to stay on Donald Trump's good side so he doesn't, sick the government on them, just like ABC is afraid of. But also because if they get in bed with the federal government, with Donald Trump, they know it's going to benefit them, right? This is the new era of the oligarchs in this country, facilitated by Donald Trump and this MAGA movement. These people who think that Donald Trump stands for the working class. Give me a freaking break. This man is bought and paid for by the ultra-rich, and this is going to be a government of, by, and for the ultra-rich. Right? So that's why Bezos and them are going down there to kiss his ass. But like ABC, I've talked many times about the fact that in our country, we have checks and balances and guardrails in place. We have of course it has its problems for sure, but we have a brilliantly conceived constitutional system that is designed in large part to prevent a dictator from coming to power in this country, from amassing the kind of power that Donald Trump clearly wants to amass. There's all kinds of checks and guardrails. The problem is, and it's a problem inherent in any system of government, is that it requires human beings to exercise those checks on a would-be authoritarian. Okay? I say many times, the Constitution cannot enforce itself. The laws cannot enforce themselves. It requires people. And if the people in positions to enforce the Constitution and the laws of this country refuse to do so out of cowardice, because they want to obey in advance, because they're afraid of the wannabe dictator, they're afraid of Donald Trump, then those laws, those guardrails, those constitutional protections mean absolutely nothing. And we're seeing our whole system, our whole constitutional system of checks and balances and guardrails to prevent a dictator from coming to power. We're seeing all of that just made completely obsolete and meaningless because people are obeying in advance out of fucking cowardice or greed. And that's what's going on with ABC. They're friggin' cowards. They're just paying, protection money to a mob boss. That's what this is. It's exactly what this is. That's what it was about when Mika and Joe ran down to Mar-a-Lago. They're scared. They're trying to get on the aspiring dictator's good side. This is how we lose it all, guys. This is how we lose it all, without even a freaking fight. So what do we do about it? Well, the easiest thing to prevent all this, we didn't take advantage of. The American people stupidly voted for this guy. We could have been done with this guy. We could have been done with this guy, but no. People are too fucking lazy, too disinterested, too busy watching dance videos on fucking TikTok to even get out and vote against a guy who said he wants to be a dictator on day one, who said he wants to abolish the Constitution, who said he wants to weaponize the government and use it against his enemies, who lied about everything under the sun. Oh, I'm going to lower your grocery prices and your gas prices, and you can have free IVF, and I'll promise anything to anybody. Lying through his teeth, promising to be an authoritarian, and these friggin' morons don't even bother to get up and vote. A guy tells you he wants to be a fascist, authoritarian dictator on day one, and these people don't even bother getting up off their fucking couches. I don't even know what to say at this point. You know, look, at the bare minimum, stop watching ABC. Just don't ever fucking watch ABC again. And any other, news outlet who's going to acquiesce and obey in advance like this. Like, I'm never watching Joe and Mika again. I mean, you just stop watching. You know, these boycotts, MAGA has used them to great effect. You know, liberals used to use boycotts to great effect. Doesn't seem that they do that anymore, but now MAGA does it. And you know, in a lot of ways, these companies who have been brought to their knees by MAGA protesters, you know, they're much more afraid of getting on the wrong side of MAGA, not just Donald Trump, but his voting base, than they are about upsetting the other side. You need to make them more afraid of you again. People who stand for democracy and rule of law and who oppose this fascist takeover, they need to be more afraid of people like you and I. All right, so fuck ABC. Don't watch ABC ever again. Don't watch any other media outlet who's going to do the same kind of thing. But we are one by one seeing all the people who have power in this society, in the political process, just bending the knee, giving up without even a fight. We've seen it obviously with the entire Republican Party. They're all a bunch of freaking cowards. They just threw away their entire Republican Party, allowed Donald Trump to just remake it. I mean, most of what Donald Trump and MAGA are pushing is not even remotely conservative anymore. This is not conservative, what they're trying to do. The party of Ronald Reagan, whatever you think of Ronald Reagan, it has nothing to do with today's MAGA. Okay? Night and day. They hate Reagan, in fact. Okay, this is not a conservative party. They've destroyed the Republican Party, and the Republicans have just let them. Because they were always too fucking afraid to stand up. At any point in time, they had so many opportunities to get rid of this guy, but at each turn, they thought, oh, well, it would just be easier if we go along. Trump will be gone soon. We don't have to impeach him this first time. He's not going to win re-election, right? He friggin' loses. He incites an insurrection at the Capitol. Commits crime for the whole world to see. He gets impeached, and the Senate refuses to even freaking convict him because, oh, well, he's not president anymore. He's never going to come back. We don't have to worry about him. Supreme Court, the Supreme Court, you know, at every step, the people in positions to protect us against an aspiring dictator refuse to do it out of fucking cowardice or corruption. And that's where we are, and that's where ABC is. It's a thoroughly corrupt and cowardly organization. Why would you watch them anymore? I mean, how, you're going to trust them for news? Give me a break. You know right now, they're not going to report anything that's going to upset the dear leader. And if they think that $15 million is going to protect them for the next 4 years, they're out of their friggin' minds. Okay, fuck ABC, turn it off.